Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual AI Podcast. I'm your host, Leonie Du Toit, and if it's your first time here, welcome. I'm really glad to have you here. And if you're returning, I'm glad to have you back. Thank you so much for joining me again, beautiful soul. Today, I want to talk to you about something that might be a little bit secret within the spiritual and self-development spaces, industry. But it is not intentional. And I've discovered this over the last few years of kind of working in my field with my clients, my students. And I've discovered that even though it is not something secret and that it is open and it is available to everybody, a lot of the coaches don't actually know that they are using these two skills within their life, within their content, within the content that they give you, within them helping their clients. And it's kind of like the analogy that came up this morning when I was sitting just reflecting on a few things this morning was actually your nose. It's like it's there, but if you're not consciously focusing on your nose, you don't know it's there, right? So up until the point that I referenced your nose, your eyes did not perceive your nose. You didn't know that it was there. The moment that I said your nose and you became aware of your nose, even if you're looking out in front of you and watching this video, you can probably from your like the peripheral at the vision at the bottom here, you could sense, you can see a little bit of your nose. And that's only because I have brought your attention to it. Now, here's what happens. Here's this thing that coaches have and use, but they are not consciously teaching it, giving it to you in their content. And I'll tell you why this has happened and why it is happening within the industry. It is awareness and intuition, right? It is the two most important spirit senses that you can develop within and on this journey of self-development and the spiritual journey. Every single coach, teacher, healer out there has taken 10, 20, 30 years to actually develop their sense of awareness and develop their relationship with their intuition, with their inner voice. And that is helping them to navigate their life with more clarity, ease, and purpose. That is why they've come to a point where they've got beautiful relationships. They've got a business that's running really fluently. They're making a lot of money. They have beautiful relationships. They have, when their traumas or their patterns show up, they can see it instantly within the moment, and they can kind of dive in there and get it done within a split second. It's done and it's processed, integrated, right? Whereas when you're first starting on your journey, when they first started on their journey, they didn't have the awareness and they didn't have the relationship with their inner voice. So it's taken them time to build up the awareness. It's taken time to build up this relationship with their inner voice. And that is why they are where they are today. And that is why you, as a beginner, is where you are today, because you don't have the awareness. That is why you're still struggling with your relationships. You're trying to figure out, why is it not working? Why is it that I always, draw a narcissistic men to me? Okay, without awareness, it is just something that's happening to you and you can't figure it out. But when you start bringing awareness into those patterns, you then become, conscious, aware of perhaps it is mum and dad's narcissistic relationship that's being translated through you into your relationships because you haven't dealt with that from your past. Now, you can only do that through awareness, guided by your intuition. Now, why do I say that coaches don't knows about it? They don't know about it, and they're not teaching it in their industry. It is because it has become it is there. It is something that it's there, and they don't have to focus on it every moment of every day. It is just there. It is like when you first start writing, you're driving your car, you have to pay attention to all the pedals and the steering wheel and all of the stimulus outside of you, and you've got to turn here and you've got to pay attention to this guy that's driving like a real ass on the road today. And there's all this overwhelm, but after a while, you just drive and it becomes natural. That is what awareness and intuition does for us on this self-development and spiritual development journey. Now, most of the coaches out there have beautiful content. Now, I want to let's reference Lewis Howes. He's amazing with what he does. He's reaching millions and millions of people, and yet I don't think to date I've never heard him speak about awareness and intuition. Yes, sure, he has interviews and maybe they've touched on it. I can't recall any interviews that I've listened to. You know, if I think about manifesting interviews that he's had, they've never mentioned awareness and intuition, which is the biggest like gap ever. Like if you don't have and you don't speak about awareness and intuition within the manifesting steps, there's a lot that's being left behind, right? So Lewis, I know that he is aware and I know that he is guided by his intuition, right? Because he's done the work. It's taken him years and years to develop that. But he himself has not, I think, seen the nose. He hasn't become aware that awareness and intuition are the two spirit senses, skills that he's developed that's actually helping him on this journey. Now, I'm just using him as an example. I love Lewis. I love his work. So, but this is not just him. Like last year, I did some research on the steps of manifesting within the industry in general, and not one of the top, I think I did 6 or 7 leaders that I looked into, none of them had awareness and building awareness and intuition as steps in their content. Okay. And I can see how this is creating this big gap in the industry. People are struggling to find their traumas, find their patterns, find their limiting beliefs because they don't have a level of awareness that, for instance, that coach or that leader has at that moment, at the time that they're giving the content. So my mission and my journey is to bring awareness and intuition back into the conversations because I can see that it is the missing link. And as I've been writing my book, which is very, very close to being ready for publishing, I have gone into and I have seen and understand that the gap that is in the industry is because we are not talking about awareness and intuition. We're not talking about these skills and senses that we have developed over time. Now, here is the beautiful thing, is that if you are starting brand new today, and I showed you how to tap into your awareness, and I showed you how to build a relationship with your intuition, where it's taken me 3 decades to work through my stuff. It will not take you the same amount of time. If I give you those 2 skills, if I give you the sense of awareness and I give you the connection to your inner voice, you could do all of the work that I've done, for instance, you can do it in a year or less. And I'm not exaggerating here. If we as leaders and coaches give our clients these 2 steps first, if we give them the nose, if we show them the nose is there and you can use it, it's going to help you to literally sniff out. And I know this is corny as hell. I can just see my girls roll their eyes with their mom saying corny shit like this. But if you can sniff out, if I give you the nose, you'll be able to sniff out things in the moment, and you should be able to change your life around in a much shorter period than most of us in the coaching and in the leadership roles have had to take to navigate through our stuff, right? So when you are out there and you are listening and looking, doing these challenges and buying courses and all these things, I want you to start paying attention. Is your coach, is your teacher, is your mentor giving you these two senses? If not, then I want to invite you to hop onto my webpage and go and grab one of my low ticket offers is a masterclass on awareness and intuition, and it will kickstart everything for you. And then once my book comes out, I want you to go and buy the book, and I want you to dive into that, because in the book it goes into a lot more detail and it shows you where this gap is and how, when awareness and intuition comes in, we start closing the gaps when it comes to, doing the work, doing the shadow work, doing the breath work, even just in relationships with our children, with our partners, with your boss, right? The relationship with yourself, what your body is telling you. So when you start dialing into awareness and intuition, everything changes. There is a sense of clarity, there's a sense of ease that kind of comes over this whole process. It makes it so much easier. So again, start paying attention. Start building awareness. Now, I'm going to give you one exercise that you can do. I'm not going to just leave you out there and you have to kind of fend for yourself, although the masterclass is there. I'm going to give you one exercise that you can do that's going to help you start building awareness within yourself so that you can make this journey of healing and discovering a beautiful, joyous one instead of a really difficult one, and the way that myself and a lot of others have had to have. So, what is this one thing that you can do? It is start paying attention to the first thought that pops into your head when you open your eyes. It's that simple, or not as simple. All right. Start paying attention. So when your eyes open up in the morning, so let's say you wake up with your alarm, you went to bed late, a little bit later than usual, and your alarm goes off and you need to get up. And when you open your eyes, the first thought that comes into your mind is, oh my God, I'm so tired. It's going to be such a terrible day. I want you to start paying attention to those thoughts. I want you to nip them in the bud. I want you to stop them. And I want you to reframe them to maybe gratitude, saying, I am so grateful that I get the opportunity to have another beautiful day, because there's so many people who don't. I get to wake up in a warm bed. I'm so grateful for this. And you will start seeing an almost instant change in the way that your day and your days and your weeks start going. So start paying attention to the very first thought of your day, and it is going to start changing the way that your life unfolds. I am going to leave the episode here. It is a short and very powerful one. If this has brought any clarity into your day, if was like an aha moment, if you're a coach and a leader, you're listening to this and you go, "Ooh, Leonie, I see how this could be a gap," drop me a comment, like the episode, share the episode with people who are out there, with other leaders, with your clients, with students, and help them step into awareness. If you need help, as always, I am here. Reach out. I will have my website information within the description, but I think most of us are tech savvy, so if you really want to get a hold of me, you know how to do it. Sending you so much love. Go and start building awareness and see your life change in beautiful ways. Take care.